Hello and welcome to chapter 193 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
Tired. I am
Mm-hmm.
so tired, and it's only gonna get more tired. And I know that's not. I know it's not a competition because I know you are also tired, especially being it being what 9:30 right now for you. So
Yeah,
yeah, and we're gonna be at this for a bit. So,
we
but
forged on.
regardless, we got this. We got this. We got this. How are you doing, Travis? How's your day been?
My day has been a handful. I had to get up extra early to drop off Allison's SUV to the garage. I had to get a
Okay.
new wheel bearing. That was a nice $400 hit.
Ooh,
Luckily,
I just got my trip my 4-wheel drive fixed yesterday. That was about $900. So
yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It was the only hour of labor. The part was quite expensive, and
usually it.
that was fun. So this morning, shout out Canada, they send out this thing called GST checks. You get those if you're, I think it's under a certain income. I know
Okay.
where I went back to school for the previous 10 years before I went back to school, I'd never seen any of these checks. I was not under that income line where you would see this. So the past 3 years I was in school, I wasn't making a lot of money. So
Sure.
I get those checks. They essentially send them out just for the taxes you spent. You get a rebate on it. It was $254. I got the
That's something.
notification after walking the dog. I was like, oh, that's fine. I got to work and sat down at my computer, and I got a notification that the account that I had there, one of the accounts, went under the $100 threshold. And I was like, that's odd. Don't know about that. And got in and looked, and PlayStation, someone had hacked my PlayStation Network account and
Yeah.
had bought two games, the Assassin's Creed, well, technically three, no, technically four. The Assassin's
Just because
Creed
you
game
remembered.
for $80, and then they bought the new FIFA game. I think I seen Brent play it a couple times, maybe on my TikTok, uh, for PlayStation 4 and 5. 110 $110, I think it was. And then they bought Crash Team Racing, which honestly that's the one I was most intrigued about. I was like, that one sounds pretty fun. You played the PlayStation version back in the day, but still pretty frustrated about that. I had to call my bank. My bank wouldn't do anything until after I spoke to Sony, and Sony Canada did not open until 9 a.m. Pacific time. So this was
Oh,
1:30
jeez.
my time. So I had to wait and stew in my. It's the only thing I could do was cancel the card and cancel, like, block Sony from being able to take anything else. But they wouldn't do it where I had a monthly subscription. They wouldn't immediately refund me where I had a previous relationship. But I was pretty frustrated about that, suffice to say. So all that little extra government money went away. It's going to take up to
Real so
five.
quick.
Sony was really quick. Shout out to Sony. They were really
Oh,
quick when I
good.
told them to refund the money and remove the card from my account, and then change the passwords on my account. Well, let it up to me to change them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The last thing the guy did was put two-step authentication on my account, which, shout out to him, that was probably the dumbest thing you could have done, because you gave them you have to give them 2 steps to
Yep.
authenticate. My
Uh-huh.
first step was the email, and you put in your own for the second step. And the
That
guy
was
told me that they were immediately opening a investigation
good.
on the guy to shut down his account. I was like, that is perfect. That is
Good.
music to my ears. But very frustrating morning, Joe. And then getting hit with the $400 car bill right after. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's just
So,
like money's gone. I know it's reasons like that, specifically reasons like that I've always bought any game on my PlayStation, on my Nintendo. I'll go get a gift card and I'll go buy like a $50 gift card and then load that on the account. That way,
no,
because that way, if I have like $5 on there and that gets hacked, oh no, I lost $5.
I will say this is only a checkings account, not my savings account that I
Sure,
have with
sure,
the
sure,
bank.
sure.
So I only put money in to use money most of the time. This one, like, the government put that money in there, so I didn't put.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'll put $200-300 over from my savings over my check like that. So still, he tried to pay for two other games, and it got declined because I didn't put a whole lot of
There
money
was
in my
not enough
checking
money
accounts.
in there.
It's
Yeah,
just what came there, right? So. Again, but I could not have been more frustrating. But when
man,
you said that, that's a
yeah,
perfect idea. Just buy a prepaid card, stick it on the account, and there you
yeah.
go.
It's simpler. It's another step or two, but
Works out
you
better.
won't have that happen.
That's what I'll be
So
doing. I should have known too, just because of how many leaks Sony's after having and breaches. You'd think, Travis should take your card off of
well,
there.
again, it's not just Sony; it's all of them. But
Hmm.
yes, I understand how frustrating that is.
Yeah, it was this ironic twist of getting that money and then losing that money because I have a full-time permanent job. Honestly, don't really need that money now, but
Yeah,
it goes on.
you
It's
know,
based on last year's tax
last year's stuff
returns.
exactly.
So again, I'm not going to say no, but I'll never see it again after this year. So again, it was just really funny. Eventually, I'll get it back. I think by Wednesday, my bank
okay,
will give it back to
that's
me.
not
So
bad.
5 business days. I was a little
Yeah,
frustrated about that. I was like, I've been with you guys since I was 12. Like, I'm not pulling a big scam here to get an extra $200.
sure.
So I'm a little shocked that you wouldn't automatically refund me after I told you about this, being like, hey, I didn't do these.
But
But again,
there's a process. You have
there's
to
a
go through the
process. There's a
process.
process. So, that
Just
was
like we
just a
have a
little hubbub.
process here at the
Just
show.
yes, and I will do that process in terms of the network plugs. Let's see if I can hit the new network plugs because hello, we are on a new night. We are on Thursdays. We are on
Hi
this
guys,
night for the next 6 weeks, Joe.
6 weeks. Yep,
Yes,
basically
and
the length of Loki, which I'll be
yes,
watching after this.
and I will not be watching this
You'll be
tomorrow, but
going to
I'm
bed.
going to bed. Yeah, so let's get the new network plugs out of the way. I did a terrible job on this with the Animation Nation. Just
I don't think so. I thought it sounded great.
so we are part of the Geek Off Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly, is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays, for the foreseeable future, is a walk through the multiverse going weekly covering Gen V. Now, when Gen V ends, and when Invincible starts, Joe will fill you in on that closer towards the end of Gen V, what his plan is for Invincible. But as of now, weekly for Gen V is a walk through the multiverse on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is this show for now, DC Alliance. On Saturdays is Marvel Alliance. And on Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel for the next 6 weeks, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Fridays for the next 6 weeks, Marvel Alliance goes live at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier, and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through the DC films through the year. Stick with us. We went through from Batman 66, the movie, right up until A Road to Perdition was our latest entry. We have A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen on tap, and I cannot wait to talk about that one. I told Joe I have a lot of nostalgia. Really interested to get into a conversation with him about that. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their Infinity Saga rewatch. They're covering the entirety of the Infinity Saga. And we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, which is kicked into high gear here in October. So, Joe, I'm going to let you talk about that for a little second while I take a sip of water.
Who needs water? Yeah, so I am second week into my 30+ days of Halloween. Today, I believe, if you listen to this or watching us, I dropped Scream 4. Ooh. That one was an interesting one. And if you're listening to this on Friday, I dropped Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, the 1968 Christopher Lee Dracula movie. It's classic. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's gonna be daily on the Patreon all the way to the end of the month, and I got a few good ones watched. I got a lot I still have to watch and cover, but I have fun with it. This is the second year doing it. I have fun with it.
I love them. They're really enjoyable. They're really nice, quick hits, breaking down what you thought. And again, I'm excited to really. I haven't done it, so I've listened to a couple other ones, but I haven't listened to the Halloween ones yet because I am doing the full on. I decided to do the full on.
Just gonna wait.
Everyone, just gonna wait.
That's fine. I mean, honestly, if you do, there's 13 of them. You'd have like about, I don't know, what is that? Almost an hour and a half of
That would
content.
save me a couple commutes. I can
almost
tell
2
you that.
hours.
That would take a nice week of my commutes, which would be nice.
There you go. That works.
So we thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and view your podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a great thing. Okay, Joe, let's get into what we have here tonight. We've been off for a little while, so we're basically playing catch up a little bit, and James Gunn has been talking since we've been off. So I'm going to a couple of his quotes here. I'm going to read to you, talking about DCU continuity. Nothing is canon until Creature Commandos next year. A sort of aperitif to the DCU and deeper dive into the universe with Superman Legacy. After that, it's very human drive to want to understand everything all the time. But I think it's okay to be confused on what's happening in the DCU since no one has seen anything from it yet.
Let's stop right there. We don't need to be confused right now.
No.
We're already confused with everything going on. The
Mhm.
reason why people are asking is because we want an understanding. And when you're saying that, and I know we're gonna get into it, but when you're saying that these actors and these characters are going to be in your universe, that's where it gets confusing, but continue on.
I agree with you there, and I think we're barreling down the head of Peacemaker going Deadpool and just being meta and talking about it to us on the screen.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm afraid of that because I don't know Peacemaker character from the comics very well. I know it's gained popularity since the show, and he's been brought back into the comics. But the one time I saw him in an old Suicide Squad book, he was kind of a douchebag. So
Yeah.
how are they? I mean, honestly, they could turn anybody into a fourth world breaking, or what's the is that the right term? What's
fourth wall breaking?
Fourth wall breaking. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can turn any character into that. Harley Quinn has become that of sorts
In an animated show,
couple years,
especially.
So, well, I mean, in the comics as well, her run in New 52 kind of turned her into that, which then that is what the show is based off of mainly. Yeah. So, yeah, you could make any character into a fourth wall breaking character, and Peacemaker has that ability because season 1 definitely had a lot of jokes, but had a lot of serious undertones. I'm just interested to see how this works out. I don't know if that's a smart move.
I'll be interested to see it. Like I said, you and I are both will wait and see and judge it that way. But again, you don't want to have too many people confused going into this. He also said, and yes, some actors will be playing characters they've played in other stories, and some plot points might be consistent with plot points from the dozens of films, shows, and animated projects that have come from DC in the past, but nothing is canon until Creature Commandos and Legacy. And I just want to talk about one other thing that I did really enjoy him saying, which was James Gunn talks about shared universes. Every story should be enjoyed and worth partaking in and of itself without its attachment to an outside world. If it feels like homework, screw it. Shared universe should add fun to the individual stories, not the other way around. The individual stories and characters are much more important to me than the connections between them.
Can we say shots fired?
I really enjoyed that, though.
It's a good quote, but let's see if they can actually stick to it.
Yes. And another thing I just wanted, because he did lay it out here, just some of the characters that are still supposed to be here. Zolo playing Blue Beetle, Viola Davis playing Amanda Waller, John Cena playing Peacemaker. He also talked about Freddie Stroma still playing Vigilante as well.
I am happy about that because I like John Cena, so him continue on as Peacemaker, I am really excited for. But we've been saying this since the get-go, since it was announced that Gunn was going to be and Safran were going to be the heads. Just wipe it all. As much as I love John Cena, as much as I love Viola Davis, Blue Beetle is that one in between where, because it didn't have any connection to previous, you could bring him over and have him in this universe, but the rest of it, you need to wipe it.
He could have been in the universe, he could have been the start of the universe.
He could have been the start,
Creature Commandos, if you wanted to.
Correct.
Yes.
But John Cena had a connection to it had Flash,
Suicide Squad.
He was in Suicide Squad. He's got a deep connection to the previous.
Yes, and
So
that's we're
like,
both in agreement on that, Joe, because I do think that you could. We're not saying don't have John Cena, but you don't
correct,
have to have him dressed up as Peacemaker. You can have him
correct.
as a different character. We'd be all fine with that, and the general audience people aren't going to really know or associate him. They're going to just go on with the thing, and
I
we're going
mean,
to be
you
fine
could
with it.
easily like sidestep this as saying, "Oh, this is Peacemaker from another unit from this
It's
universe."
not
Like it's
confusing to you or I, like about what he's doing
sure.
here.
Well, if yes and no, because now you have to jump through hoops to make this work.
Yeah,
And while we will accept it, the general audience will be like, "Well, wasn't he over here? So why
I
isn't this connected to that?" And huh?
I wonder who like. I know, like, there's going to be some general audience that are going to care about that. There's going to be also others that are going to be like, is Spider-Man in this one? So,
That
like,
sadly is the truth.
I do agree with you there. I just wonder how much, like, he's trying to make a 4 quadrant film. I'm just, like I said, this needs to be a hit. So I really hope that that's the case. So we
Yeah.
have some other things that he's said since we've been going to. I'm going to do some quick hitters now. James Gunn and the filming for DC studio projects. Most future DC projects will be shot largely in London. Legacy is being shot in many places across the world, but our home base is in Atlanta. So, what do you think about most of DC? We talked about this the last episode, but it's nice to hear James Gunn. James Gunn has really come out since the WGA strike has ended and started commenting a lot because that ended the last night we did an episode, our
Yeah.
last Monday night.
Yeah. I don't. The bad thing for me is I don't recognize cities. So like I think you have said like, or maybe it was Snell for like the Batman. He could recognize that was Vancouver or wherever the heck they filmed. Like I don't. As long as it looks like the city they're trying to portray, I'm happy.
Aquaman and Zack Snyder's Justice League were times I thought that I saw my home province.
Yeah. So like,
But again, that's not. I for one am excited because it's good to have it all under one roof. You can have James Gunn understanding. It's not like phone call, Zoom call away. It's a
mm-hmm.
drop down to Studio H or something and see what such and such director's doing. And it's easier for meets and all that. And same thing with actors. If you're having shared universe, a little bit easier to cross over if your home base is in London and everyone's here.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Yeah, because then somebody could just walk right over.
yeah.
But like I don't care where they film. I just like the
Same.
movies.
Same. So we had James Gunn dropping this in the comments with Bitsy Tulloch commenting, talking about Lois's look from Action Comics, from Superman Action Comics Rebirth. Dan Jurgens run there with the purple outfit. She just said the one with Lois on the cover in purple cardigan was the one of the images I sent to our wardrobe department to try to emulate. A lot of fans had told me purple was Lois's color, and James Gunn said I really love that art and used it in my treatment. So basically, a
Cool.
summary of the film for Superman Legacy. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I my Lois is '90s Lois, so like, not like Lois and Clark Lois, like Terry Hatcher. Like, while beautiful, I'm really more of the comics because that was the Superman that I read all the time and the one that's just my stuff. So
I really love Bitsy Tulloch, and it's clear here that she really cares about the character.
Yeah.
To send that to wardrobe, like, we should do it this way. James Gunn has come out and said that he's back up and running for Peacemaker season 2, or I mean, back up and writing for Peacemaker season 2. Someone asked, like, what are you doing after that? After Superman Legacy, he's like, Peacemaker. I'm already writing it right now. So he's back in full force, and we're going to see this pretty soon.
Because he had a script for Legacy like the day before or the day of the strike started, and turned that in. We haven't heard if that got a green light, if that script needed tweaked or not, had we?
No, we haven't heard anything about that.
That was the first pass. That was, so
he did say that nothing's going to start filming until there's a finished script.
Sure.
Which I do appreciate, because we do hear all these stories of rewriting things on the fly. So
Well, and that happens regardless. Like they'll be on set and be like, you know what, this kind of sounds better than what I originally had. Like that is fine. Like little tweaks while they're filming, but there are plenty of horror stories of films starting the film and then midway through, oh, we have new pages.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we changed this scene.
And got awful.
Yeah.
We've really done the rails. I like Justice League. So before we
So those
talk
are
about the next news item or thing that James Gunn talked about, it's going to feature a listener of the show that's been in the live chat as well, answering one of his questions. We'll take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Like I said, a listener of the show, Phil Unfiltered, who's joined me on the Animation Nation as well, wrote James Gunn on Instagram asking him, how is this Peacemaker Season 2 going to work continuity-wise, considering Season 1 is smack dab in the middle of the DCEU? And James Gunn replied, you'll see in the show. Not a lot of explaining there, but given the comment he said that I read about earlier, it's not surprising that he's not going to explain this to Phil. But I did appreciate that he responded.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a creative interact whatsoever. Like
Yes.
we've had that on different things. I know Chris has had that through a lot of his comic stuff. So like it's always like a serotonin boost when that happens.
Yeah, I did think it was a pretty funny reply. You'll see in the show. He's definitely going to have to address it, and I do like that he's like, I'm not giving it away here, guys.
Yeah, like
and also shout out to Phil.
Yeah, shout out, good job, Phil. Because I've definitely written to like artists and writers and got nothing back. So yeah,
and like I spoke about before, James Gunn mentioned that Freddie Stroma will be back as Vigilante, and myself and Joe are completely on board as well.
Yeah, I liked him as Vigilante. So
not a great thing here. Not a great thing here for Snyder fans. James Gunn says that Zack Snyder says he has no interest in returning to the DC universe, considering he's happy what he's doing. And yes, we have talked. He contacted me to express his support about my choices. He's a great guy. Again, he seems to be doing a really great job. So I did think this was really funny because we also have people being like, rah, 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 rah.
100%. This is my shocked face. Like, oh no, he's not coming back. Of course he's not going to come back, you fools.
Yeah,
WB burnt him. Like he's done. He doesn't care about them anymore.
Yeah, and again, he can talk to James Gunn because, spoiler alert, they are friends. He did work on a film
right?
that Gunn wrote. So,
yeah,
and also I think Gunn used one of the Snyder's stunt guys that stunt coordinators that Snyder worked with for Peacemaker. I think specifically that final battle, that big line battle that Peacemaker was in.
Really?
I'm pretty confident on that.
Did not know that. So fanboy Clay over here. What? How dare Snyder be such a snake?
He'll be canceled next, Clay. He'll be canceled next. Yeah. So next up, some cool art that they redecorated James Gunn's Superman Legacy office, and I thought it was pretty cool with all the Superman covers. I did notice that everyone that I could see, Superman was wearing trunks. That I could see it on. Some of these you can't see it, obviously, but I did notice that. So I wonder if I'm reading too much into that, or is that a little foreshadowing? Maybe the art department already knows.
They already said he was wearing trunks, didn't he?
I didn't think so. I thought he said.
Oh no, they had both. They had that vote. That's right.
Yeah, they tested both, but again, I don't care either. I'm just like the sleuth of me is looking at it. Like I wouldn't watch a movie like he's wearing trunks and they're watching this. So I just thought it was pretty funny that I can't notice any here where he's not wearing trunks.
Well, the thing is, it looked like it was all old, like pre-New 52, and then Rebirth stuff. Like,
yeah,
nothing was New 52 where he didn't have the trunks.
Yeah.
So
again, I thought it was super cool. They did two. They did his office as well. I think here is the second one here. They changed it. Action Comics was just a little wild, and then they redid it with some extra Superman art.
I was gonna say, like, the fact that it was just the one issue, and then they changed it to being like that issue, but like blown up, and there's a couple more on the side. Looks cool, but like, did he
they
really
hate
have
it?
nothing
Did
on
they
his
hate
wall?
him before? Did they hate him before?
Well, not only that, but like, did he just have like nothing on his wall before, or like, did they have to take whatever was there and take it down? Like, I don't know.
Brandy says Gunn can't resist. There will be trunk jokes throughout the film. His Superman is a galoot, so of course the dork wears trunks.
I mean, probably.
It does go with the character they portray. But again, I'm excited for Legacy. I'm excited to see what Gunn does. You got to give him a shot at this, just to see what he may do. Again, if it's not successful, I don't know how well the DCU is going to do going forward. Yep, Joe basically did the exact projection if it doesn't do well. So
I mean,
I'm hoping it does.
but that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, 100%. Zaslav will come out swinging. So, Joe, we'll catch up on the rest of the news. Now we're done with our James Gunn talk. Was there anything here that was new to you, that surprised you? Anything that we didn't think before? Because I'm pretty sure I talked to you beforehand. Even though he's dumped a lot of these, besides the big quotes at the start there, most of this we already knew.
Yeah, a lot of that. I mean, I didn't know about the Office pictures until today, but most of that stuff was shared in the group chats throughout the week, so I saw it.
I feel like some of it we spoke about before.
I think we have to, like, we talked about we talked about the actors staying over and all that, like that.
Yeah.
That's been discussed, but like the quotes, yeah, like, okay, cool. Like I'm a DC fan, so I'm gonna watch this thing regardless.
His shared universe comments are something that I really got pumped about because, again, that can be a chore sometimes, especially with Marvel. I still haven't watched Secret Invasion yet, so
we better watch that before you go see Marvels next month.
Yeah, I know. I'm at least going to be able to watch Loki without having to go watch that, so that's a plus. But yes, I understand what he's talking about.
I don't know. Did you go see Ant-Man and Wasp? You can't watch Loki unless you see Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yes, I have.
And then you have to watch Ant-Man and Wasp before that.
Oh my god, it's just. But again, most of those I enjoy. But nobody has made me excited to go watch Secret Invasion. So I am appreciative of what he's saying here about all these stories should stand on their own before even like the shared universe stuff is just it should add a little bit of extra fun, not take over the stories.
Not be homework. It should not be homework.
Randy says as well, other than the first two Reeves films, all Superman films have bombed or broke even. Man of Steel made $40 million. Don't assume I can promise you, Randy, we're not assuming.
Have you been listening? We're not assuming it's good. We're hoping it's gonna.
We're very nervous on that one, just because of the history of the movies too lately.
Yeah.
We've seen WB and Zaslav. Like I said, these WB is in far worse financial state than it was back when they tried to start the DCEU. So if things go wrong with the DCU, this is not going to be pretty.
I would not be surprised if they decide to. I'm not going to say like just up and sell, but have serious talks about liquidating assets.
There is a thing too. They'll definitely put out feelers of how much will we get for individual assets or how much will we get for a gigantic bundle, because you got the streaming services like Apple and Amazon, like they're out. The one thing I will say about that, just coming from a sports fan background, you have the cable companies absolutely terrified, like ESPN, for basketball rights are coming up, I think in 3 years. And they're like, oh my god, Amazon and Apple are coming in and outbid us, and we're not going to have anything to put on our live shows. So if you have an ESPN channel, get ready. In 3 years, you're going to be watching darts.
Yeah, you know what? I'd probably watch that. That'd be kind of fun.
180. Clay also said, Fanboy Clay also says, we hope for the best when it comes to the new DCU, but I have more confidence in it because Gunn wants to tell a story more than he wants to just put superheroes on the big screen.
I agree, but we're also getting like a full Justice League team in this movie.
Yeah, so planning to put
again. I think we've talked about that. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more background than forefront, but we'll just have to wait and see.
We will. Okay, Joe. Going on the non-Gunn side of things, we get a new look at the the first look, I guess, at Joker Folie à Deux.
Did we not
For what
have? Did we not see Joaquin
I think Lady
Phoenix?
Gaga we
We've
saw,
seen Lady
maybe.
Gaga, but did we
I'm
not
not
see
sure,
him?
but
Okay.
this is him in the rain, just sticking up. This looks like I don't know. He's it looked like we're in prison stuff here, so it seems like he could be getting escorted somewhere. But I'm not going to try and figure out what's going on in Joker 2. I'm just going to sit around for a ride. I do think that it's a cool shot.
I mean, you say. I mean, it could be prison because he. I mean, last we
Yeah,
saw him, he was in the hospital, but it could just be maybe he is out. Although, if this whole thing tracks, it's probably in prison or the hospital.
yeah, I agree. Randy says WB is available for sale starting next spring. Universal is rumored to be interested. Sale could come by 2025. Randy, watch out for the streaming services. That's all I'll say. And the big players like Apple and Amazon, because they need content. They need libraries. Look what Amazon paid for they immediately greenlit 2 seasons for Batman Cape Crusader. The
Yeah, I wouldn't
new
be
Batman
surprised
animation.
if a streaming service picks it up over. Although, I mean, if Universal does, that's Peacock. Like they'll throw it on Peacock.
There you
But
go too.
like that is no matter what, that's money makers for the streaming
Apple
service.
and Amazon are a different kind of beast than these like the
And
studios and
if
stuff.
Apple were to buy it, that means I have to get Apple TV Plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
which I'm interested to see these bidding wars when they go down. And again, I don't know much about Joker. It's one of I think it's the only film coming. Is the only film out for us
It's
in
the only
2024?
film next year for DC Alliance.
Yay! We're gonna be so pumped for that. It's gonna be so much fun. And
I think it will.
no, wait,
Honestly, I think it will. I think
maybe,
I am looking forward to the movie.
maybe.
Because it does kind of separate its own thing. So
Clay also says I wouldn't mind Apple getting it. I'm with you on that one, Clay. I wouldn't be against Apple or Amazon, to be honest with you.
I am. I don't
Compared to
have
something
Apple. I don't have to pay for it.
DC hero themed iPhones. Oh my.
Anyway,
Okay. On to the next thing. We're getting a dump for Aquaman and the Last Kingdom. Joe,
oh yeah, I
we're getting
didn't look at this, did I?
we're getting a few extra things here. We're getting a comic book prequel to the upcoming film. Photo cover starring Jason Momoa and variant cover by Billion Ortega. So and Arif Pratano.
Yeah.
Pranato, sorry. Available October 31st.
Is it? It's just a. Is it? Is it just the one comic, or is it gonna be like 3, like Flash was?
I'm not sure about that. There's no extra
Because
information
it's not
besides
saying.
that.
Yeah.
It's just Aquaman and Orm with Black Manta in the background. It says issue number 1, so I'm assuming there's multiple, maybe 3. Like
Not
that would be your
necessarily.
standard. I'm not really digging the Aquaman suit there.
Oh, the black one or
Yeah,
the
there's green one, like the aqua colored one. It, I, if it's like stealth, I guess it'll be cool. But for now, and prequel comics, we know how those go. Not very well.
They're usually great. I mean, I did read the first issue of the Flash one.
I'm still
I
waiting
meant
for
to read 2 and 3.
since
Never
Clay's
did.
in the chat. I'm still waiting for Clay and Snell to finish the final Batman '89 issue. So yeah, that's how things go when it
Pretty sure
comes
they gave
to
up the ghost on that one.
yeah. So that's how things go normally for these. It's just you lose steam at times. And Randy, I'm right there with you. Momoa said if Aquaman does hell, he'll get another shot. If not, he'll be Lobo. I do think that is a distinct possibility. I'm not sure Aquaman's going to do well, but I do think it's a good chance he could be back as Lobo. Next up in the Aquaman talk is the Funkos have been released. The first wave of Funkos. We have 4. We have Aquaman. We have Mera. We have Aquaman's mother, Queen Atlanta. And we have Orm. Are you going to be getting any of these Funkos, Joe? What do you think about Amber Heard? Is in Funko form, so she's in something with this film so far. There's a Black Manta one as well there that they didn't show in the preview, and they offer. This looks like Stephen Shan as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a Funko fan. I don't say a Funko fan. I've got enough with obsessions and collections. I don't need Funkos. That's a
I
whole
wouldn't be able to
different
afford every
thing.
every film would be rough for me if I had to get Funkos for
Uh,
them. I have some Funkos back there, but
oh
just
yeah, no, I got a couple. I've got which ones do I have? Uh, Bioshock Infinite. I've got those
oh,
four, and I had a few when I had Loot Crate back in the day. They'd come in the
oh.
mail, but like that's really about it.
There's a child up there too, sitting around with some other, mostly superhero stuff, is what I
Nice.
snag when I see it there for a decent price. So yeah, I'm sure other people are excited about that. Not quite as much for me. Myself and Joe are more excited about the rating for Aquaman, which has been officially rated PG-13. Uh, don't see much of a surprise there.
Exactly.
Rating for some sci-fi violence and some language. So again, I
I
do think
figured.
this is going to be the same because it was such a hit, the first one. You can't price out by making it rated R or anything like that. Uh, Pretty standard stuff there. Um, Next up, Stephanie Williams and James Gunn's Strange and Unsung All Stars of the DC Multiverse, a visual encyclopedia, is a #1 bestseller already, despite only being available for pre order. A release date has been set for November 7th, 2023. Will you be picking up this book? Do you think it's super cool that it's already sold out and it's going to be featuring a lot of uh, unsung heroes of the DC universe?
I mean, it's pretty awesome. I personally, I probably won't pick it up, but not to say it wouldn't be a fun coffee table book.
There you go.
Um, but I'm good without it at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I may purchase this. Like you said, this is cool. Little bathroom reading material. I would know most of these characters, but again, something for people that are visiting your place. I still think it's cool that basically whatever James Gunn talks about comic wise
It just
fires
sells
up to
out immediately.
yeah. So yes, sign me up for that. There was a rumor before the strikes, SAG strikes, that there was Project Tom King. They were adapting Tom King's Strange Adventures, and it was in early development for the DCU. Is this something that you want to see? Apparently, the guy who's going to play Mr. Terrific has signed on to reprise his role pre-SAG strike.
I haven't read Strange Adventures. I'm not saying I won't. I really want to. Because honestly, when Tom King hit Batman in the beginning, I was a little iffy. Um, but when he does a limited series, it's almost always a hit. So this one in particular with Adam Strange, I remember listening to, I think it was DC Comics Squadcast when they covered it, or it was on World's Finest True Believers because I think Chris has covered it. Chris, you can correct me later. Um, so I know the story, I know what it's about, but I haven't read it, and I've heard great things about it. So if they can make that into a movie, dude,
I will say, as someone who hasn't read a lot of Adam Strange comics, but he was a particular standout for me in the Krypton series.
okay. Oh, I didn't know he was in that.
Yes, he's in that, and he is fantastic in that.
I really should watch Krypton. Jeez,
Dude, there's two. Is you're not going to get finality
satisfaction at the end. Yeah,
on the end, but there's so much good shit in there, especially that second season. They really go balls to the wall. Uh, it's
that's what I keep hearing. Like people
yes,
really enjoyed the show and were upset when it actually ended. Not only because of the cliffhanger, but because it was just people really enjoyed it. Now my issue is it was on Sci-Fi.
yeah,
Sci-Fi has a tendency to have good shows, but terrible endings. I'm looking at
yeah.
you, Eureka. I'm looking at you, Warehouse 13. Like it. So maybe it was a good thing that it ended prematurely.
Yes and no. The worst things are like they literally gave us the best live action versions of Brainiac and Doomsday.
Then maybe I should watch it because
Yes.
I do love me some Doomsday.
Oh my god, you would particularly enjoy this one.
Okay.
Also, some great backstory stuff with Zods and House of L's and
Ooh.
very good stuff. And
Yeah,
there's a
maybe I'll check
DC
it.
Legacy casting in there for someone who plays General Zod.
Perfect. Yeah, because that's on Max. Maybe I'll check it out here
Yeah,
soon.
you would enjoy that. So yeah, I really do think that this would be pretty cool, and it's very easy to introduce Adam Strange. Like he's a character very similar to Star Lord.
Plus,
So
we don't
gone.
like this. I honestly wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if this would be greenlit. We only know what barely half of this chapter 1 of the DC universe.
And we know some
So,
other things are going to end up on Max. Like we're going to get some TV shows. Like
oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
sure,
all movies.
sure.
And maybe this
This,
could be an animation thing as well, Joe.
yeah, we already
As
know everything is connected.
Yeah. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about, because I'm sorry, Mister, I don't think we should strike. Stephen Amell, I did see somewhere they comment that he hates the Flash meme with the grave, cannot stand it. So this is why I put it in here. Grant Gustin
Perfect.
recreated his Arrowverse meme next to Oliver Queen's grave with someone who had an Oliver Queen grave like costume on. I just wanted to share it because it was just made me smile and
I
laugh.
mean,
I thought
well,
somewhere Stephen Amell seen this and being like, "This is bullshit. Why can't
look,
this end?"
you
Pretty
look
sure that's
at
pretty
Grant.
sad. I wish this
Grant
ended.
Gustin's having a great time with that costume.
Well,
Like
it
he's
literally
perfect.
all the other DC CW stars picking it in a different place than Stephen Amell. So
Uh huh. Uh huh.
uh, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Well,
Just
maybe
wanted
if
to
you
share that.
didn't die in your show, Steven.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe if Flash can do that. So before we get into our Smallville retro recaps, we'll take our final ad break. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or volume. We'll give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We got 2 episodes of Smallville to catch up on this
Mm-hmm.
week. Season 3, episode 11, Delete. We'll talk about it first. I'm not gonna lie. Literally 3 minutes into watching this episode, I immediately remembered this episode, and then the whole emails thing making people.
Yep.
Oh my god! I was like, I
That is
can't.
so flipping 2001. Like, what the heck?
Oh my god! It's just
I mean, I know
perfect.
this came out in 2003, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's so early 2000s, and even what really got me was the fact that like Lana knew kung fu apparently as soon as she got like mind wiped to do this. Which maybe whoever saw this was like, oh man, she looks great. We should make her Chung Li. That was a mistake.
Yeah, pretty big one. Pretty big one.
But no, like I'm right there with you. As soon as I started watching it, as soon as Clark tried to run over Chloe, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember what's going on with this thing.
Yeah, immediately I was like, "Oh my god, we have various people trying to take Chloe out throughout this episode," and I gotta say, I did enjoy it. Clark's like, "I got an email right before I did this. Like, I don't even remember," and I loved him piecing
It
it
opened
together.
itself.
Yeah,
The only thing I question is Lex finding what was her name? The hacker's name.
Molly Griggs.
Molly, yes.
Yeah,
Like how was he able to track her down so simply when she was not associated? I don't know. Like just the ending seemed a little like rushed, or like
convenient.
they missed something there.
They pulled that there. It's like we're missing a scene there, but again, I did enjoy Lex helping out. We're getting Lex trying to get back to who he was and how he was before.
Yeah.
We also get some more Adam Knight things here where he's moving Smallville to be close to Lana, but nobody knows anything about him.
Yeah, he was another one that I know in this episode and the next one, they this episode especially when he was also another one who was like, "Why are you in the ladies' locker room, my dude?" Because if you were in down the hall and you saw Lana attacking Chloe, yeah, maybe you could rush in, but something tells me you were there.
Creepy Porky. What a good Porky situation here.
Exactly.
So yeah, this was just an okay episode. I think it was the weaker of the two that we're going to talk about here. But I did enjoy people trying to kill Chloe. That was fun, and Lex basically making a deal. Sorry,
I was gonna say I do think Chloe kind of shined in this episode. I thought Allison Mack did a really good job.
Agreed. She's obviously she has the character of Chloe down path to a T throughout these seasons, and yeah, you're right, Joe. She does deserve a little extra notice here for this episode. I really liked how Lex basically caught Dr. Garner, and then instead of turning him in, going to use him to try to get his memories back from
figure out what the heck happened.
Yeah. So
which that is classic Lex.
100%. And I mean, you can't really fault Lex if you're missing 7 weeks and not wanting to try to get it back. So I guess you want to give? I'm going to give this episode. We don't normally rate them, but we're doing 2, so I want to distinguish between the two. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10.
This one is a lesser out of the two, sure. Like
100%.
The net hereafter episode 12 was just freaking love that episode.
Now take it away, Joe, as we transition into hereafter.
So this is one where a student starts coming to school and he can see the death of people when they get touched, when he touches them or they touch him. Like it starts out, he sees Lana's death. She's older. She passes away peacefully in her sleep. Looked like she was in her 80s or 90s. And then he happens to touch the coach's hand or shoulder or something. And he sees the coach killing himself, walking in front of a car. And because of that, Clark overhears him. What was it? Jason? Jordan. I think it was. Him being like talking to his dad and overhearing what's going on. He sees the coach, saves the coach, which then sparks different things to happen. It changes the outcome.
Yeah.
It's very Final Destination-esque, you know?
Well, we find out after a while that the coach is directly responsible for,
exactly his own daughter's death.
Yeah.
But no, like this episode was great because it starts to see Jordan. He wants to be normal, but he can't because of this ability. And Clark is the only one that, like, when Clark touched him, he saw him ultimately living forever, which then kind of starts giving Clark this thing of what's this complex of like, how do I change fate?
Yeah, or well, if I change fate, like, is it for the better that I did?
Yeah, he starts to question him doing the stuff, helping people.
And Randy says, check out the Gerard Christopher Superboy series. Season 3 and 4 are great. They did Red Sun 10 years before dawning comics. Nice. Oh, I might have to check that out, Randy. I haven't had a chance to see much of Superboy. I've seen some episodes here and there and some clips, but again,
I've always heard that was a good series, but it's also very 80s.
It sounds like it took a couple seasons to find its footing there from Randy.
Sometimes they do.
Again, Titans never found its footing. So, the final season wasn't too bad.
First season had its footing, sort of.
You make a good point here too, Joe, because I do love this because Clark saves the coach, and then the coach is almost loses one that kills Lana. So
yeah, and the other cheerleader, because they didn't watch his daughter, or they didn't pay attention to what she was doing.
I don't know. That was the weakest part of that.
It was a little convoluted
there. But again, I really do enjoy this because Clark has to look at himself. He's like, if I didn't save him, if I didn't save Lana and this 2 innocent people would have died because I saved this terrible person.
Yeah.
So do I always save the people? Do I? And again, this is just the innate thing of Clark, is he's going to save them. And unless he knows who they are, like a Zod or a Brainiac, he's going to save them regardless of it, like any situation.
Correct.
To put himself in some harm. So I really enjoyed this, and that's the best thing about Smallville. I did see a tweet. I wanted to talk about it because we're here with the talking about Smallville, but it was like Smallville did Ma, Pa Kent, Clark Kent, Lex Luthor, and a couple other characters better than
Lana,
anybody,
Pete.
better than anybody ever did. Well, no shit.
Honestly,
Well,
yes.
no
They
shit.
had,
You got
but they had
7
time.
seasons, 20 episodes a season to
How
build
many
out these
seasons?
characters. I'm just talking for
Oh.
Lex. Lex
Oh
is
yeah,
only 7.
Lex had
So
7. I think
yeah,
Lana only had like 6 or 7 as
and
well.
the main 2 showrunners were gone after season 7. So I
Okay,
was
yeah.
just doing that just for but obviously Joe's right, 10 seasons for some of them, but you have so many seasons of development, 5 seasons for Jonathan, 10 seasons for Martha. Again, it
I thought he
obviously
lasted
you're gonna need
until season 5. I couldn't remember
yeah,
because like he has the heart attack at the end of this one. I'm like, I don't think
512,
he dies here.
512.
That's the 100th episode, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
that's what I thought. I thought I remember
Guess who
him.
was not happy about it?
Josh Snyder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can go fuck off.
He was
But
pissed.
what? Okay, cool. Did he not read the Superman comics ever? Like his dad almost died like practically all the freaking time, and then
You
he
can't
did
save
finally
him.
die.
You can't save him. That's the beauty of it. So
Yeah.
again, I gotta say, I really enjoyed the hereafter, the back and forth, and then the whole Adam part of this whole thing, where Jordan touches Adam, and then Lana finds
Yeah.
out, the rest of us find out that Adam's already died before. Adam's died with this terrible liver disease, I think, and we see him injecting himself with some kind of medication.
Yeah. And then Chloe does her
Investigation,
Nancy Drew and tries to investigate.
which might want to get some backup there, Chloe, and that sort of thing.
Oh, I'm sure everything will be fine. It's not like she's gonna walk into her house and it's gonna blow up or anything.
Or the myriad of other things that have happened to her in the last 3 seasons, including her wild weird with, again, just sometimes seems like they forget the things that have happened in the previous little while. It's like,
What I will say is that this season started out rough,
mhm,
but they had a good chunk of episodes here that were just great.
yes.
So I'm happy with where it's going. Which it's been a while. Like I think I remember watching seasons 1, 2, and 3, maybe even 4, all the time. Like when it was originally coming out, like I'd buy
Mhm.
DVDs and I'd watch them again. I haven't seen these in decades. So rewatching it here, it's been nice. It has been really nice.
I agree with that, Joe. I do enjoy, like, sometimes I'm watching the episode, and depending on what it is, I'll start to remember watching the episode, even sometimes where I was when I watched it, like if it was a specific different place or something.
Yeah.
This,
Most of mine was my ex-girlfriend, my ex-wife, it was girlfriend at the time, her mom's place. So like I
and
remember the layout and everything.
some of these were my dorm. Some of these were my dorm. Some of these were in my home, in my like childhood home. I do remember like the email instantly triggered a oh my god, like I remember this back then. So like
Yeah.
you said, this has been really enjoyable to revisit. I didn't get a chance to watch Talkville for these 2 episodes, so that's why you haven't heard me chime in with anything they've said about Talkville. I will obviously, listeners, get back on that bandwagon for the next episode next week. But I think the next episode is Velocity, maybe. Yes,
I believe so, yes.
which is a very enjoyable episode where Pete drag races. So we're gonna get Pete centric episode next week. I'm really excited. Joe, we'll be back next week with some Doom Patrol as well. We'll get season
Yeah,
4.
that's gonna
It's
be
back.
coming out next week, next Thursday.
Yes. So
Kind of
uh,
excited.
content. We'll be back. Listeners, thank you for joining us. It's been fun catching up on the news we've missed since we've been off, and we'll be back for the next 5 weeks, Thursdays at this same time of 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, sir. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. Really appreciate it.
Yes, Randy, Fanboy Clay. Thanks, guys. Later, everyone.